Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Um, Ashok ji, why don't you read the seven realities? Let's start with that. Thank you.
Certainly, the seven realities: existence, love, sacrifice, renunciation, knowledge, control, and surrender. I give no importance to creed, dogma, caste, or the performance of religious ceremonies and rites, but to the understanding of the following. 1. The only real existence is that of the one and only God, who is the God in every finite self. 2. The only real love is the love for this infinity God, which arouses an intense longing to see, know, and become one with its truth, God. 3. Only real sacrifice is that in which, in pursuance of this love, all things, body, mind, position, welfare, even life itself, are sacrificed. 4. The only real renunciation is that which abandons, even in the midst of worldly duties, all selfish thoughts and desires. 5. The only real knowledge is the knowledge that God is the inner dweller in good people and in so called bad, in saint and in so called sinner. This knowledge requires that you help all equally as circumstances demand, without any expectation of reward. When compelled to take part in a dispute, to act without the slightest trace of enmity or hatred, try to make others happy with brotherly or sisterly feeling for each one, and to harm no one in thought, word, or deed, not even those who harm you. 6. The only real control is the discipline of the senses to abstain from indulgence in low desires, which alone ensures absolute purity of character. 7. The only real surrender is that which that in which poise is undisturbed by any adverse circumstance, and this and the individual and the individual amidst every kind of hardship is designed with perfect calm, the will of God. Given by Meher Baba in 1952. Jai Baba. Over to you, Karthik. Thank you.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Thank you. So, I was not able to join the discussions in the last weekend rather. So, last weekend we have focused on, we have read the highest of the high section, and I think where we stopped was the last conclusive piece of the highest of the high. I hope maybe both of you were there in that call. So let's continue from that point. Anybody wants to start reading, or should I read for some time?
I will read. Okay.
Oh, sure. So, as I said, this is the concluding part of Baba's message on the highest of the high. And yeah, this is go ahead from this point. Jai Baba. Thank you.
Meher Baba concluded, I cannot expect you to understand all at once what I want you to know. It is for me to awaken you from time to time throughout the ages, sowing the seeds in your limited mind, which must, in due course and with proper heed and care on your part, germinate, flourish, and bear the fruit that true knowledge which is inherently yours to gain. If on the other hand, led by your ignorance, you persist in going your own way, none can stop you in your choice of progress. For that too is progress, which, however slow and painful, eventually and after innumerable incarnations, is bound to make you realize that which I want you to know now. To save yourself from further entanglement in the maze of delusion and self created suffering, which owes its, can you move the page,
Yeah,
owes its magnitude to the extent of your ignorance of the true goal. Awake now, take heed and strive for freedom of experiencing ignorance in its true perspective. Be honest with yourself and God. One may fool the world and one's neighbors, but one can never escape from the knowledge of the omniscient. Such is the divine law. I declare to all of you, I declare to you, I declare all of you who approach me and to those of you who desire to approach me, accepting me as the highest of the high, that you must never come with the desire in your heart which craves for wealth and worldly gain, but only with the fervent longing to give your all, body, mind, and possessions, with all their attachments. Seek me not to extricate you from your predicament, but find me in order to surrender yourself wholeheartedly to my will. Cling to me not for worldly happiness and uh, surrender yourself wholeheartedly to my will. Cling to me not for worldly happiness and short lived comforts, but adhere to me through thick and thin, sacrificing your own happiness and comforts at my feet. Let my happiness be your cheer and my comfort your rest. Do not ask me to bless you with a good job, but desire to serve me more diligently and honestly without expectation of reward. Never beg of me to save your life or the lives of your dear ones, but beg of me to accept you and permit you to lay down your life for me. Never expect me to cure you of your bodily afflictions, but beseech me to cure you of your ignorance. Never stretch out your hands to receive anything from me, but hold them high in praise of me, whom you have approached as the highest of the high.
Jay Baba, Karthik, the last paragraph is worth highlighting.
whole message is actually worth highlighting. I'm
Yeah.
just smiling to myself, reading
Yes,
and enjoying this.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, because I think highlighting only one part is as though we are giving more importance to one part of Baba's message over the other. I would not rather.
yes.
I think you can highlight the entire message later on.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
if I am the highest of the high, nothing is then impossible to me. And though I do not perform miracles to satisfy individual needs, the satisfaction of which would result in entangling the individual more and more in the net of ephemeral existence, yet time and again at certain periods, I manifest the infinite power in the form of miracles, but only for the spiritual upliftment and benefit of humanity and all creatures. However, miraculous experiences have often been experienced by individuals who love me and have un- unswerving faith in me, and these have been attributed to my nazar or grace on them. But I want all to know that it does not befit my lover to attribute such individual miraculous experiences to my state of the highest of the high. If I am the highest of the high, I am above this illusory play of Maya in the course of the divine law. Therefore, whatever miraculous or experience, experiences are experienced by my lovers who recognize me as such, or by those who love me unknowingly through other channels, they are but the outcome of their own firm faith in me. Their unshakable faith, often superseding the course of the play of Maya, gives them those experiences which they call miracles. Such experiences derived through firm faith eventually do good and do not entangle the individuals who experience them into further and greater binding of illusion. So the act ones are not so good. Those happen as it is the best way, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll continue. If I am the highest of the high, then the wish of my universal will is sufficient to give in an instant realization to one and all, and thus free every creature in creation from the shackles of ignorance. But obsessed is knowledge that is gained through the experience of ignorance in accordance with the divine law. But blessed is the knowledge that is gained through the experience of ignorance in accordance with the divine law. This knowledge is made possible for you to attain in the midst of ignorance by the guidance of perfect masters and surrenderance in surrendering to the highest of the high. Reading the discourse thoroughly, people will arrive at various conclusions about the statements made by Baba, depending on their perspective and understanding of spirituality. It might be interesting and also relevant to quote a part of Meher Baba's message given a year later, in which he mentioned some reactions to his claim of being the highest of the high. He dictated, when I say I am the avatar, there are a few who feel happy, some who feel shocked, and many who hear me claim this would take me for a hypocrite, a fraud, a supreme egoist, or just mad. I know I am the avatar in every sense of the word. No one can deny that if Baba is the highest of the high, he has stated whatever can be said with the highest divine authority. And to those who honestly feel that what Meher Baba has said is the truth, Meher Baba's forum will be the form of perfect beauty and the sound of his name a perfect melody. To them, Baba will reveal his humanity and divinity in all the happenings of their daily life. The third must
So
to
let's probably take a pause and just reflect and discuss on the highest of the high message, right? So yeah, if you remember the last paragraph, Bal Natu also comments on subsequent follow-up comment by Baba on the highest of the high. But basically, I find it one of the most authoritative, at the same time, compassionate messages. Right? So he is very, very clear on what he wants to leave the creatures of the world. They need to know what he was. So he's being very, very clear, crystal clear on that. But he has taken pains to try to describe all aspects and all resistances and all commentary that one would hear about it. And he has tried to address most of it, is my feeling. So it's again reflection of not just his omniscience, but it's his compassion in trying to look at it from all sides, is my way of understanding this.
Yes, yes. So this is the sort of a final statement. So there
Correct.
should not be any argument beyond that.
Last word.
Yes, that word.
It's just the last word, right? So that's it. You keep talking, discussing, read books, all that, but then finally he says, "Hey, take it or leave it. This is what it is. Take it." My last word on this topic. Yeah, that's a good way to understand it. We're doing the third must word. Yeah. It's, any comments other than that, Ashok ji?
Yeah, yeah, it's an ultimate message from Baba, and you all have said, and as you said, it shows his compassion that you know even how compassionate and omniscient he is. Jai Baba.
Yeah, Baba.
Continuing, the third must tour of 5 days. In May, Baba had planned for a 15-day continuous journey. As his plan did not work out, he made two trips, the first for 5 days in June and the second for 7 days in July. In September, he again wished to visit samadhis and dargahs of some saintly personalities and also to contact Mas. This third tour of 5 days was to begin on September 11th. Thus, in a way, Baba had carried out his earlier intention of traveling for about 2 weeks to carry out his spiritual work. Accordingly, on the morning of September 11th, Baba left Dehradun for Devband and paid his homage to some samadhis. He reached the Meerut military headquarters at about 11 a.m. Meenu Desai, one of Baba's dear ones, was a lieutenant colonel temporarily posted there. So Baba's car sped on towards the military mess. The Mandli learned that Meenu had gone out. An orderly was sent to inform him about the arrival of guests. Meenu hurriedly came back and was immensely surprised and delighted to see Baba, his beloved master. He requested Baba to visit his room. On reaching there, Baba asked for a salty snack. Meenu remembered that his wife had recently given him a small tinful of Dev Bhatia, and Baba was happy to taste a little of it. This was one of Baba's unique ways of silently revealing his love for Meenu and Bapai, his wife, indicating that though she was not there, he was nevertheless responding to her love for him. The Mandli had cold drinks, after which Baba left the military premises. He and the Mandli traveled
So anyway, quickly,
anyway. Quick,
it's minor. So, Sev Gatia is a Gujarati preparation, salty Gujarati preparation of chickpea flour. That's the cross reference.
he and the Mandli traveled on to Surajkund. Nearby were samadhis of Anand Nath and Manohar Nath. A local priest must call to offer prayers on Baba's behalf to these samadhis. He chanted some verses in Sanskrit. Then Baba Baidul and Gusaji bowed down to the samadhis. On the entrance door of another samadhi where Baba paid his homage, an Urdu couplet was written, which, when freely translated, means, I have attained the goal for which I was born. Now I am on my way to the beyond. Try your luck. Bye bye.
I find this very humorously profound, right? I've attained the goal for which I was born. Now I am on my way to the beyond. Try your luck. Bye bye. Wish I can have an epitaph like this. So
On his return to Meerut, Baba had intended to contact a monk named Meherban. Earlier in the morning, Baidul had made various inquiries with the local people about his whereabouts, but he had failed to obtain any reliable information. However, when Baba visited the last Samadhi at Surajkund, one of the people there approached and addressing him as Sheikh said, Sheikh, during your last visit you met Meherban. Do you want to also to meet him this time? Uh, the reference to Sheikh, I think what it means is when below.
Yeah, said.
When Baba would go out incognito to contact mosques or for work with the poor, his identity as Meher Baba would not be disclosed. Those accompanying Baba would refer to him as if as a state businessman from Bombay, or sometimes as Badabai, elder brother. What might be the reason for his keeping his identity not disclosed everywhere?
A good question. I I don't know. Maybe he is for a chosen few, or maybe it's because he did not want. Uh, I mean, I think different times he had different reasons. Probably during
Maybe.
the new life, we know the reason, but the rest of the time when he traveled incognito, we don't know. It could be specific purposes of linked to his universal work at that particular time. Right. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's linked to his spiritual universal work, as you rightly said, Karthik. I think, and there would have been a reason beyond our intellect why he did this.
No, I that is good, but what I feel is Baba always has he knows everything. No, he knows what is happening, who is there, everything. So he has a purpose in his activities through and through all his existence in bodily form here, and even now he is playing his game. But the reasons why he used to go incognito may be several. So there were allegations, there were people trying to crowd to have his person who wanted to have a picture of him, and also so many other environmental reasons may be there. So when there is a specific purpose, he would like to uh, uh, get at it and get it done. Maybe that is a possibility that he used to go unannounced so that it doesn't create some sort of a disturbance in all thoughts. Maybe people crowding for darshan, which is maybe a positive one, or other commotions that can happen and all that can be one mundane reason also for this.
Correct, possible. Yeah, it could just be the practical uh, things, or it could be very deep. It all depends on each occasion where he insisted on.
That's why he has called himself unfathomable. Okay, continuing. Baidul asked the man, we're here now. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Baidul
the place.
asked the
Sorry. Yeah.
man if he knew of Meher Baba's present whereabouts, and the man replied, yes. Hearing this, Baba meaningfully smiled and gestured that the person should be accommodated in his car and that he should guide them to Meherban's dwelling. So I read Meherban as Meher Baba earlier. So, okay. The man happily agreed. What had brought him to Surajkund at this time we only can guess. but Baba alone knew. So this man led Baba to Meherban's abode, a small hut under a tree. And at that time, the monk was feeding a cat and was reluctant to come out. Though Baba wanted to go down to him, he would not agree to even touch his 2 feet outside the entrance of his hut. However, he accepted some money that Baba gave him, and then Baba bowed down to him from a distance. Just then, the monk muttered in Persian, Gultam Idam. I said, I saw, a cryptic remark befitting a monk. Then he softly repeated 3 times the sentence in Hindi, which, when freely translated, means only the fortunate ones shall know what a fortune it is to see him. Near Meherban's hut, there was a dargah of a Muslim saint named Shafir. This place was included in the category of protected monuments. Therefore, the Archaeological Department of India looked after its maintenance. Yet, yet it was quiet, saying that the top of the dome of this dargah was open to the sky. People told Baba's Mandli that in spite of this lack of protection, not a drop of water ever falls inside the dargah. Reference 42. The Taj Mahal at Agra, a magnificent mausoleum, uh, mausoleum built by Emperor Shah Jahan in memory of his beloved Queen Mumtaz Mahal, is regarded as one of the wonders of the world. However, in contrast to no rain falling in the dargah with an open door, it is said that in the rainy season, very often a few raindrops fall right on the grave of the queen. And even today, expert engineers are unable to stop this leakage. That
It's just a
second
cross
part of the
reference to
sentence, that second part of the sentence, is it referring to Taj Mahal or this
Taj
place?
Mahal, Taj Mahal,
Um,
Taj Mahal.
um,
However, in contrast to no rain falling in the dargah, it is said that in the rainy season, very often a few raindrops fall right on the grave of the queen. So, obviously referring to Taj Mahal. Yeah, it was confusing, but yeah, yeah, we had to read from here.
yeah. Baba with Baidul and Bhutnaji went to offer his homage, and he later instructed the rest of the Mandli to pay their respect. Then followed a visit to the Dargah of Muqaddam Ali Shah.
Makhdoom,
Muqaddam Ali,
Makhdoom Ali Shah.
Makhdoom Ali Shah. His grave has iron railings enclosing it and is surrounded by a small garden. It is reported that more than 700 years earlier, Ali Shah left Medina for India on his camel. When the camel reached Meerut, it refused to move any further. The saint took this as a uh, sign from God that he has to stop there. When he died, this dargah was built where the saint and his dear companion, the camel, stayed till the end. Incredible. It was late afternoon and Baba wished to proceed to Delhi, which he reached by 5 o'clock. Here he stayed at the residence of one of his followers who felt immensely honored to entertain Baba and his followers with tea and dinner. Before going to sleep, Baba told Mandli that he wished to start at midnight to visit Dargah and Samadhis in Delhi. Later, he changed the time to 4 o'clock in the morning. After paying his respects at the three principal dargahs of Delhi, Nizamuddin Awali, Amir Khusro and Khwaja
Nizamuddin Aulia.
Awliya. Uh,
Yeah.
Nizamuddin Awliya, Amir Khusro, and Khwaja Bhatiyar Kaki. Baba visited the Samadhi of Sheikh Bahadur, the ninth Guru of the Sikhs. It is located near the Central Secretariat building. The Granthi priest was called. He was given some money as dakshina and was requested to offer a prayer for the successful completion of Baba's 4 month work.
Dakshina.
Dakshina, the Marathi word meaning amount of money respectfully given to a person, usually a priest who offers prayers on someone's behalf.
Jai Baba,
Not
you
knowing,
see, Baba changed the timing of his visit from 12 in the night to 4 a.m. So the time from 3:30 or 3 o'clock till 5 or 6 is known as the Brahma Muhurt. So that's a very
yes,
auspicious time.
yes,
Yes.
Jai Baba.
and also non-believers may think that if you go at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, these dargah places may be closed. So Baba, in the time to work. That's also way some people may look at it.
Legal, yeah.
Not knowing who Baba was, the priest in his enthusiasm also invoked God to bless Baba with a nice bonny baby. It made the listeners smile, although they had to restrain themselves from expressing their amusement. While leaving the Samadhi, Baba jokingly gestured that he already had an infinite number of children and it was hard for him to look after them. After lunch, Baidul again led Baba and his party to some more Samadhis and dargahs in Delhi, and Baba most respectfully offered his respect at each place. It appeared as though he was symbolically contacting the hundreds of devotees who visit these holy places, thereby rendering their contacts more faithful, truthful. They must walk arm in arm with Baba. On September 13th, Baba left Delhi in the morning for Panipat to visit the Dargah of Bu Ali Shah Qalandar, a perfect master of the 15th century. The road leading to his grave was circuitous and very narrow. So the car had to be parked on the main road, and Baba with the mandli walked the distance on foot. This dargah had a nice dome with flowers painted on it, and on its gate a couplet of Hafiz was written in praise of the Qutub. Freely translated, it read, "Your footprints, O Master, on this ground that you have trod will be the places for real lovers of God to offer their prayers to Him. Your footprints, O Master, on this ground that you have trod will be the places for real lovers of God to offer their prayers to Him." If this can be said about the spiritual magnitude of a Kutub footprint, how much more can be said about the land that the Avatar is so often trod, Mehrabad and Merazad. While returning from the Dargah, Baba walked through the bazaar and reached the other end of town. Helen, who was driving the car, had not properly followed Baba's directions as to where he had to wait for him. So Kumar had to run hither and thither to find him. At last, Kumar hired a rickshaw so he could look in some more places more quickly. While this chase was going on, Baba, in a delightful mood, was distributing sweet jalebis to the mandli and to others standing nearby. It seemed that confusion and exhilaration were, were simultaneously in play, one of the characteristics of Baba's game. It seems that confusion and exhilaration were simultaneously at play, one of the characteristics of Baba's game. So, can we have
Jalebis
any
on
other?
one hand,
Yes,
yeah, jalebis on one hand, and then the other hand, Helen and Kumar are trying frantically to contact each other. So one big party.
okay, but uh, characteristics of Baba's game. So, uh, can anyone enumerate any other incidents or the play Baba had played like this? So many may be there, but nothing comes to my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can go on about his humor, about his compassion. There's so many aspects that he brings out in different points. In
Yes.
fact, words cannot do justice.
Okay. Continuing. On Helen's arrival, Baba sped on to Sirhind via Kurukshetra. At Sirhind, he visited Gurudwar Fatehgarh, where the two sons of Guru Gobind Singh were entombed alive by fanatic Muslims. The Sikh, the Sikh priest at the temple was requested to offer Ardasa prayer in accordance with their holy book, the Guru Granth Sahib. And then, without visiting any other samadhi in the town, Baba proceeded to Khana. Khana. Earlier in June at Khana, Baba had contacted a robust roaming musk named Bambi. He not only had a pleasing personality but also an ecstatic heart. When Baba had bowed down to him in the earlier tour, he cried aloud, Haki. This time Baba wished to meet him again. This contact, however, created a little love scene on the road. When Baidul spotted the musk, Baba got out of the car and with Baidul ahead of him, he began to walk towards the musk. Baidul gestured for the Bombay to come closer, which he did. When he reached Baidul, he tightly took hold of his hand and began to walk on. This grip was so tight that Baidul, in spite of being a strong man, could not release himself from Bombay's hand. Baba walked faster and did a trick. He offered Bombay two apples. At this, the must let go of Baidul. But then, arm in arm with Baba, he began to walk towards the shop. A few steps with the divine Sati brought the must to the point of bursting into tears. At the shop, Baba offered him a cup of tea and some sweets as well. Nibbling this prasad calmed the must down. Finding him in a good mood, Baba touched Bombay's teeth and felt totally satisfied with the contact. Baba did not wait longer at Thana, but continued his journey via Phillaur to a village in the Punjab named Mohwala. This was a long and tiring journey. After reaching Pratapgarh railway station, the car had to continue on a rough dirt road. At Mohwala, it was learned that the particular must they were seeking had left for another village. After extensive inquiries, Baidul obtained information that the must was staying at a place named Mewal. So again, through the narrow road, amid the fields. The car sped on to that village. After arriving at Mehwal, a village boy led Baba and his people to the naked mosque they had come so far to see. His body was besmeared with dust and he was nonchalantly lying on a dirt road. Baba got out of the car and joined three villagers who were pressing his legs. At Baba's touch, there was some inner recognition, and the mosque looking at Baba shouted, "Leave, leave." Baba's fiery presence was hard for some to bear. Baba, however, was so happy with this contact that he remained seated by the side of the mosque for half an hour. When the mosque left his lying position on his own and sat erect on the road, Baba fed him with apples and grapes. While feeding him, Baba several times placed his forehead on the feet of this God intoxicated soul. It was an incredible sight to see the God man and the man of God, along with ordinary men, seated together on a dirty road. Baba then instructed his people to proceed to Sangatpura. It was already dark, and to reach this village in the interior of the district, Ludhiana, was not an easy venture. The highway soon gave way to a dirty road which was in terrible condition. It was not long, however, before even this road ended, and they had to travel either through plowed fields or through crops standing on both sides. Baidul missed the correct turn for Sangatpura, and because of this, they didn't get to the village until 10 at night. Luckily, the mosque for whom Baba had come was in the village. Although he had not gone out, he had bolted the door to his room from inside and refused to open it. Repeated requests and patient waiting on the part of Baba finally induced the mosque to open up. Baba bowed down most respectfully to the mosque, and Baidul asked him to bless Baba so that his work would be crowned with success. In a happy mood, the mosque said, "You will be triumphant in your work." I think somebody can continue from here.
Yeah, it
Thank
was
you.
thinking the same. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I can read for a while.
Yeah, please.
An old childlike masked Bhagat. Although it was already quite late, Baba wished to go directly to Bararka to meet an old, naked, childlike, innocent masked named Chinta Bhagat. It was around 11 when they arrived there. Baidul knew where a Sikh who acted as Bhagat's attendant lived, and he went and woke him and asked him to accompany them to Chinta Bhagat's residence. Baba and some of his people stood in Bhagat's room where he was lying asleep on his charpai. The attendant began chanting some devotional verses, and in a short while, Bhagat got up from his bed and, like an innocent child, sat on the lap of his devotee, who continued singing. In ecstasy, the must would clap his hands and laugh merrily. His expression had an unmistakable stamp of profound spiritual beauty. Being deeply engrossed and immersed in the joy of God intoxication, he seemed almost oblivious of his surroundings. Re- Repeating the refrain of a song In an overpowered mood, Bhagat got up, caught hold of Baba's hand, and began to walk to and fro in the room and sometimes on the road outside. Physically, this was not good for Baba as his leg was still weak from the auto accident. The Mandali, through the attendant, pleaded Bhagat to end his stroll, but the mask pushed them aside. After a little while, however, on his own, he released Baba's hand and stopped walking. During this walk with Baba, the must had been weeping and sobbing. At the close of this contact, which lasted over 40 minutes, Bhagat was asked through the attendant to bless Baba for the happy ending of his 4 months' work, which he lovingly did. A little after midnight on September 14th, Baba and party reached the Philor railway station. In June, Baba had met Mastani Mai there. Baba used to joke, Baidul smells Mastanis, and, sh- and sure enough, Baba found Mastani Mai in no time. During Baba's previous visit with her, she had asked him for a rupee. In view of this, Baba offered her rupee this time, but she refused, saying, I will take it, but at dawn. After gentle persuasion, she accepted the money and said, God will help you. It is beyond minds to understand the gripping meaning of such conversation. Baba looked pleased, but by the time he got in the car, Mastani Mai approached him again and lovingly demanded 10 rupees. Baba immediately offered her a 10 rupee note, but Mai insisted on 10 coins of 1 rupee each. Some luggage in the trunk of the car had to be untied, and Mai's wish was fulfilled. Now she had the whim to ask for a pencil, which was also given to her. Delightfully holding it in her hand, she drew some lines and some figures on Baba's back. After catering to such childlike whims, Baba left for the long journey to Hardwar via Roorkee. On the way, he visited samadhis and dargahs of saintly personalities and paid his respects to them. The last four God exalted persons mentioned above had been contacted by Baba early in June, and they all belonged to the Naga, naked type of mast. Baba had asked Baidul to specially seek out this type for these tours. A saintly personality, Sarmat, 16th century, beautifully expresses views on the nakedness of musts. God told the sinful ones to hide their shame in many folds of clothing, but to those who have not sinned, He gave the beauteous dress of babies, innocence in darkness.
Beautiful.
Innocence in nakedness.
Not
Sorry,
darkness, nakedness,
I'm sorry.
nakedness.
Yeah, yeah. Innocence in nakedness. Yes. There are many interesting incidents in Baba's life which illustrate his intimacy with various types of musts. I have related some here to display a few facets of Baba's relationship with his beloved children. The childlike vagaries of the musts and the compassionate father, ever patient and loving responses. A gift given in disguise. On September 14 in the afternoon, Baba reached Hardwar intending to contact a mast who was residing in a garden a few miles from Kangal. It had rained in the morning, and the dirt road leading to the garden was covered with many large puddles of muddy water. On two or three occasions, Baba had to get out of the car and wade through the water while the old six-seater Chevy detoured through the fields. During Baba's previous visit, this must had allowed Baba to be accompanied by only two people when contact was made. So Baba just took just Pedul and Elcha with him when he went inside the must's room. The must, however, was in a different mood on this occasion and wanted to see the entire group. The moods of the must changed like the vagaries of children, and Baba always wanted to contact them when they were in good moods. So the Mandi waiting outside were called in. With this successful visit, Baba returned to Hardwar and spent some time with one of his favorite mas, Nilkantwala. He then rode to Rishikesh, and after a few contacts with sadhus, etc., all had dinner. When they returned to Hardwar, it was past 10 at night, a time normally associated with sleep. But at the beginning of this tour, Baba made it clear to his people that this was to be a no rest, no sleep journey. So, late as it was, Baba announced to those accompanying him that he wanted to offer prayers at a samadhi at midnight. Some of the Mandali went out to find a samadhi in Hardwar that Baba would approve of. However, this search did not prove fruitful, and Baba finally decided to visit Kalyar near Roorkee to offer midnight prayers at the Dargah of Sabir Sahib Makdum Ali Ahmad Sabir. It was after 11 and the road to Kalyar lay through forest. Baba's car was driven by J. Helen, whose eyesight was so weak that he had to wear thick glasses. Baba, who wanted to reach Sabir's Dargah before midnight, urged Helen to drive faster, and after a while, still faster. Helen, in fact, was frightened to drive at such a high speed, for in the darkness, even with full headlights on, he was unable to see the road clearly. Just then, Baba pointed his finger at a car's red tail light ahead of them on the road. He told Baba to catch up with the, he told, sorry, he told Helen to catch up with that vehicle. Helen increased his speed, but the car in front seemed to maintain the same distance, perhaps a bit more, but not less. Kumar, who was in the rear seat, was asked by Baba, why should the car go so fast? Kumar replied, Baba, this particular area is a government forest reserve. I presume there could be a poacher in that car, and he has gotten the impression that he is being chased by government forest officers. And to avert arrest, he is driving at such high speed. Baba looked back at Kumar and smiled. As Baba's car neared Roorkee, the red tail light ahead quickly suddenly vanished. Baba directed Kumar's attention to this abrupt disappearance, which seemed extraordinary. Baba commented, Kumar commented, Baba, I too wonder at the sudden disappearance of the light. Perhaps the pusher has turned on to a side road. Again, Baba simply smiled. As Baba's car continued on its journey, Kumar was partly watchful to see if there was any turn off ahead, but there didn't seem to be one. The tail light's sudden disappearance puzzled him greatly. The only solution he could think of was that the appearance of the red light was Baba's device to summon courage in Helen to drive faster and in the right direction because he had to reach Kalyar sufficiently before midnight to offer prayers. Baba's car and the Mandali's jeep stopped near Sabir's shrine. Faidul went in to meet the caretaker of the shrine, who flatly refused to open door of the dargah at such odd hour. Faidul pleaded politely, but to no avail. Finally, Baba decided to offer prayers by standing near a stone trellis through which Savi's grave was visible. That night, Baba gave an unusual instruction to his people. He asked all who had accompanied him to circumambulate Sabi's dargah 101 times. The employee of the shrine, for some unknown reason, did not like Baba's people walking around the shrine. To express his displeasure, he often repeated, Go slow, go slow. In contrast to this, a young boy who had happened to be there then was deeply touched by Baba's presence. While Baba's people were circumambulating the dargah, this boy took his seat near another stone trellis and began to read either the Holy Quran or some other religious book. Soon he was overwhelmed with ecstasy and began to shed tears. In between his sobs, he often glanced at Baba and the sorry, the
Like
dry
hearted.
caretaker chided the boy for expressing his emotions. Perhaps the 101 circumambulations made by Baba's people represented the 101 holy names of God. When this was completed, Baba looked satisfied. Before leaving, he expressed one of his men to give some money to the caretaker as a reward. Some who were with Baba, however, thought that the real recipient of Baba's gift was the young boy whose heart was awakened to God's love in his presence. The avatar has the habit of bestowing gifts in disguise, but the greater and the most incredible gift in disguise to humanity is the avatar himself, in whom the infinite God becomes man. Just something I want to mention uh, is a mention about 101 names of God, Ishwar, but Mehra, Baba's beloved, had, has uh, recited 7 names of God at the Samadhi. And there is a YouTube video also of that for those who are interested. On his return to Hardwar, Baba contacted a mosque in the early hours of the morning. Before reaching Dehradun, Baba wished to pay his homage at Manik Siral's Samadhi, situated near the Forest Research Institute. The road leading to the Samadhi was so poor that halfway there the idea of the visit had to be abandoned. By late morning on September 15th, Baba and his people reached 101 Rajpur Road, the place where the tour had begun. Everyone who had accompanied Baba looked extremely tired and worn out. About this whirlwind tour, one of the Mandi from Dehradun wrote Adi at Ahmednagar as follows. Baba wants me to write and let you know that he has returned from his must trip on 15th September. He worked relentlessly, traveling night and day without sleep and with little food. The last stretch of drive was 60 hours drive, stopping on the way only for extreme necessities. Baba and the Mandali returned completely fagged out and exhausted. But during this tour, Baba contracted some excellent masks and told us that his work was very well done, which of course the main which is of course the main thing.
60 hours of road trip continuous, right, without stopping is 2.5 days. Just let that sink in, right? So that's the kind of hardships that Baba took, right? 60 hours of a road trip.
Absolutely, that's phenomenal. Some striking incidents.
Before
In
we start this, regarding the number of names of God, 101, where is it referred to in our way of doing things? 108 is the number usually taken for many counts of deeds or names. And 101, where does it appear? Any idea?
I think,
Anyone?
yeah. I think it's, if I remember right, this came up long back when we were reading discourses. I think this is Persian.
No.
101 is a Persian grouping, and the names also are uh, in Persian,
Oh,
translated in English. So they're basically the attributes, sifat of God, right? So it's all the names. It's like you can say Sahasranam. Right? So
hmm.
it's basically the attributes of God described with various names, and it's also translated and available. But I think original is Persian, if I remember.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
a Zoroastrian concept,
Oh,
and the number hence could be linked to that.
probably.
Karthik, where is that available?
I can find it and share it. Yeah.
Yeah, please share the link.
Yeah.
And
Anything else?
that's
Boli,
okay. You can pass on the thing about Mehran Baba's prayer.
I'm sorry I can't get you.
No, you referred to 7 names of Baba recited by Mehra.
Yes,
That also, if you have a reference, you can send it up.
I will. I will share
Okay.
on the Mayor Baba Awakens. Karthik, is it okay if I share it on Mayor Baba Awakens?
Of course. You can share it. That's the place to share it. Exactly.
Okay.
I'm trying to get the 101 names of. So the I confirm it is Zoroastrian. It's a Zoroastrian concept.
Great. Great learnings. Uh,
Just
some
trying to
strike.
open it.
Sorry,
What?
you want to open it?
Yeah, for some reason it's not here. Do it. So here it is.
Oh, oh,
And the date reference is given 22/4/1963. This is another time. Pune gathering. Beloved Baba said, if you repeat this prayer with love, no other prayer remains to be said. Anyone can repeat these names with love, irrespective of the religion he belongs to.
oh.
Yazid, Harvesp Tawan, Harvesp Agah, Harvesp Khuda Badeh. It's all in Persian, right?
Some striking incidents. 1953, Part 8. Darkness prevails over God's house. During Baba's stay at Dehradun, there were several incidents that were particularly poignant in that they expressly illustrated Baba's love and compassion for those ordained to meet him. Though not in strict chronological order, each of the stories that follow brings to light one of the graceful aspects of Baba's omniscience and delightfully portrays his unique sense of humor. Veer Inder Singh, a retired police officer, Veer Inder Singh, a retired police officer, was among those who met Meher Baba for the first time in early April of 1953 during Baba's stay at Dehradun. As time passed, Baba was so pleased with Veer Inder Singh's intense love and one pointed conviction that he nicknamed him the new Daulat Singh. Baba's ways of bringing
1 second.
his yeah, cross reference, this reference. Daulat Singh, a former member of the city council of Srinagar in Kashmir, was one of Meher Baba's companions in the new life. See Glimpses of the God Man, Meher Baba, Volume 2, page 118 to 108, 116 to 118, 260 to 263.
And obviously, he's one of the Panj Pyare.
Yeah, Baba's ways of bringing his lovers to him display various facets of his fascinating methods depending upon the individual nature of the people involved. The saga of Veer Singh's meeting with Baba unveils one of the charming aspects of the beloved's love. Ever since his youth, Virendra had spiritual leanings. He was blessed with robust health and began a career with the police department where he served for many years. It was a life of challenge and adventure for him. The police service brought with it many hazards, as the criminals who had to be dealt with were often ruthless and cruel. In such a perilous life, one special incident established him firmly in his spiritual life. Once, in the course of his duties, he found himself confronted by a gang of 12 dacoits, highway robbers. The chief of the ring attacked Veer and began to wrestle with him. While struggling to free himself, when Veer shot the leader in the thigh with his revolver. The dacoits thought that their headman was mortally wounded and were enraged. They took their clubs and began to beat Veer. One of the blows struck him over the eye, and he lost his balance and fell to the ground, unconscious as though dead. The gang snatched a revolver, tied him to a pole inside the hut, and set the hut on fire along with other huts on both sides, so that he would be roasted alive. The heat of the fire brought Veerinder to his senses, and he realized the great danger he was in. He wholeheartedly called on God for help. With all sincerity, he also promised God that if his life was saved, he would dedicate it to him. Just as the flames reached the inside of the hut, a party of the police arrived in pursuit of dacoits. Not knowing that one of their own men was inside, they were about to shoot into the huts in case of any dacoits were hiding there. Just then, Veerinder cried with all his strength for help. The police recognized his voice and his life was saved. God had graciously responded to his call. After his retirement, he decided to remain in Dehradun with his wife for the rest of his life. Now it clearly came to him that he should devote all the time to the remembrance of God. He kept busy the whole day with activities connected with the spiritual life. Being brought up in a religious Sikh family, he converted one of the rooms in his home to into a gurdwara, a place entirely reserved for worshipping God and the Master. Veer spent most of his time, even late at night, in reciting and reading parts of the Guru Granth Sahib, the holy book of the Sikhs. Through constant remembrances of God and both reading and recitation of these inspirational books, a deep spiritual feeling was aroused in him, and he intuitively felt that his longing to see God in human form as a Sadguru would soon be fulfilled. As the days passed, his yearning became more intense, and at some moments he felt exceedingly delighted with the impending prospect of meeting the Master. One day in April 1953, after completing his regular morning worship and reading from the Guru Granth Sahib, he covered the holy book with a fine cloth and began to meditate. Sometimes a friend of his, Sardar Singh, an accountant in the Air Force and a learned person who took a keen interest in spiritual matters, would come to participate in the recitation and to listen to Virendra's heartfelt commentaries on passages from the holy book. He happened to come this day, and while there, casually mentioned that a Sadguru named Meher Baba had come to Dehradun recently and was currently residing in a house on Rajpur Road. He also added that the master had been observing silence for many years. On hearing Baba's name, a deep chord in Meher Baba's heart was touched. He closed his eyes and
In
silence.
Virendra's heart.
So I'll just read again. Sorry, very sorry. On hearing Baba's name, a deep chord in Virendra's heart was touched. He closed his eyes and silence filled the room. He committed He commenced his meditation for the second time that morning and went into a trance. In his vision, he saw Meher Baba wearing a pink coat or a white sadra. His hair was combed and his face was so resplendent that the radiance seemed to permeate everywhere. Veer Inder opened his eyes and asked Sardar Singh when they could have Meher Baba's darshan. He replied that Baba might give his darshan to the public in a few weeks. But the vision of Baba had been so overpowering that Veer Inder insisted on seeing Baba that same day. How can I wait to see the enlightened one? He exclaimed. Sardar Singh said that although he would not be of much help in this matter, perhaps Kishan Singh, who stayed at 107A Rajpur Road, might be able to arrange an audience with Meher Baba. Veerinder decided to try his luck that same afternoon. Actually, Veerinder's first acquaintance with Meher Baba's holy name was in the early 1930s through his father, who was a deputy magistrate. Being a religious minded person, he somehow became interested in Meher Baba, and while going to his office, he often carried a copy of Meher Baba's message. This is cross reference 45. A monthly devoted to Meher Baba's work and messages. January 1929, November 31. From January 1930, Meher Message published a series of articles by Meher Baba on God realization. Yeah, yeah. In that issue, there was an article by Divine Lord Meher Baba on God realization. Veerinder happened to read it and was greatly impressed by Baba's discourse. Even then, deep down in his heart, he felt that Meher Baba was a genuine Sadguru and wanted to know more about him. But the ordained moment of meeting him was not to be for 2 decades. Now, 20 odd years later, he was off to 107A Rajpur Road to see Kishan Singh. It turned out that this was the same house he had seen in his recent visit. But when he met Kishan Singh and requested to have Meher Baba's darshan, he was flatly refused. Some days earlier, Baba had, as he often did, severely warned Kishan Singh not to bring anyone for darshan. Baba even threatened to leave Dehradun immediately if Kishan Singh disobeyed. Veer, of course, did not know this, and Kishan Singh's answer seemed to be a harsh and curt response to his humble and sincere request. It pained him so much that tears began to roll down his cheeks. It was beyond him to control them. In a very despondent mood, he left the house and he came out of the bungalow. He exclaimed in Hindi, Khuda ke ghar andhera, meaning, what a wonder, darkness prevailed over God's house. He beholds the beloved of his visit. Virendra Singh, feeling greatly depressed, began to return to his home with heavy steps and a broken heart. As he reached the crossroad leading to 105 Rajpur Road, where Baba stayed, an overpowering wave of love came over him, and he began to experience a state of vacuum in which he felt that he was gradually losing his sense of identity. When he came back to his senses soon afterwards, he noticed a friend of his standing by the side. He told Veer that Sardar Singh was going to come to his office for tea. Both of them then went there and had a nice afternoon tea, after which Veer felt quite refreshed. After hearing about Veerindra's visit to Kishan Singh's, Sardar Singh enthusiastically suggested that they both go there again, which they did. Once again, Kishan Singh firmly but politely repeated his early reply. At this time, however, Baba happened to be in the house and without having received any report about the visitors, he sent a message that they should wait near a broken wall of the adjoining house. Then they would be they would then be permitted to see him from a distance when he returned to his residence. This was indeed happy news for Virendra, and both of them delightedly went next door to wait as directed. After a short time, they had the joy of seeing Baba walk by, his arms swinging gracefully as he approached to 105 Rajpur Road. This was a heavenly and indescribable sight for Virendra. As Baba was walking along, Virendra saw a dazzling light emerge from behind Baba. His concept of God was one of eternal light, and he felt he was in the presence of a master who was one with God. This glimpse of Baba compelled him from within to bow down to Baba, although he was some distance away. Seeing this, one of Mandi cried out, Baba does not want anyone to pay him respects in this way. At once, Virendra stood up, keeping his gaze directly on Baba. Baba, instead of continuing, turned just then towards Virendra. As he approached him, he looked at him lovingly and gestured, Don't worry, be happy. Then he spelled out some sentences on the board, but Baba's presence made Virendra so intoxicated that on this day he does not recall anything other than Baba's radiant figure. After a minute so, Baba walked out to his residence while Virendra continued to watch him, his eyes blurred with tears of joy. As Baba reached the premises where he was staying, he turned his full gaze on Virendra and waved to him. This gesture of intimacy granted to him without there having been any formal interaction made Virendra not only immensely elated, but it made him convinced that Baba knows and that he was Baba's. In a wine mood, he got on his bicycle and rode back to his house. On reaching home, he became more and more intoxicated with Baba's divinity. Some days he would sit from sunrise to sunset in the Gurdwara at his house, days as though the affairs of the world held no interest for him. With this feeling, the longing to see Baba was intensified. Baba, but Baba left for Basuri on April 10th, and we did not know when he would return to Dehradun. A month and a half later, Baba returned, but we did not know this. On the day when his longing reached perhaps the apex of its intensity, Sardar Singh came with a message. Baba wants you to come to him tomorrow. It is said When a lover longs to meet his beloved master, it is in fact only a feeble response to the deeper love which the beloved has for the lover. Virendra wanted to know where the Baba had come back to Dehradun, and Baba responded with a compassionate call, inviting him to be in his very presence. The following morning, he rose early, but soon discovered to his dismay that in his overpowering exuberance, the thought of meeting Baba, he had totally forgotten to order flowers for the beloved master. He also wanted to prepare a sweet dish for Baba with his own hands. He collected and sifted the very best ingredients for making rava. Absorbed in thought of Baba's splendor and beauty, he prepared the rava himself. When it was ready, to his great delight, he felt the omnipresent master appear before him and bless the dish by tasting a bit of it. With a glass bowl filled with rava, he set out with his wife to meet the master. On the way, he saw a man approaching with a basket of fresh flowers. Virendra asked him if they were for sale, and the man, a total stranger, lovingly looked at him and, to his surprise, handed him the basket, saying, "It's for you," and went on his way. Incredible. Now, Virendra and his wife, with a bowl of sweet rava and a basket of flowers, began to walk towards the main road. Just then they met one of their friends who asked where they were going. On hearing that they were on their way to 107A Rajpur Road, he most willingly offered them a lift in his car. Everything that was happening seemed to be a marvel, and in that marvelous mood, Peter and his wife reached the house much earlier than the appointed time. Such surprising happenings were perhaps archetypes for the greater coincidence that went to happen in the later years in meeting Baba lovers closer to Baba after he had shed the cloak he had worn. Happily, Baba had already arrived and was sitting with the mandali. Hearing that Vindra had come, Baba sent word to usher him and his wife in at once. With a bowl of rava and basket of flowers, they stood before Baba, who was obviously very pleased after paying homage to Baba. Virendra desired to give a morsel of rava personally to Baba, but he gestured no. As Virendra looked visibly disappointed, Baba, to his surprise, conveyed that he had not only tasted the rava when it was ready, but also relished it because it was prepared with such love. He then asked Virendra to distribute this as a prasad to the mandali. This was a direct confirmation from Baba about his being present at Virendra's house. Although Virendra's experience seemed remarkable, Baba has revealed that he is equally for all and that each of his lovers receives a special dispensation of his grace and blessings. After this memorable meeting with beloved Baba, Virendra did not miss any opportunity for Baba's sevas and darshan either at Mehrabad or in Pune. Virendra Singh's deep love for Baba reminds me of a Hindi couplet, footnote 46. Eh, याद उनकी होती रहेंगी अगरचे सोया करेंगे हम which states, when the grace of the Godman awakens love in some anyone, his heart continues to feast his loving remembrances even when the physical body goes to sleep. Overpowering
Beautiful.
grip of
And I think
death.
we will stop here,
Yes.
even it's exactly 9. Uh, I'm just reminded of two things before we sign off. Beautiful incident with Virender and his Rava and even his Darshan episode. So when the lover is ready and the the beloved makes sure, he appears and reaches out to him in whatever way that would please and whatever way is appropriate for that Jivatma at that time. The two episodes are, one is Virendra, the second was Save Ghatia of Bapai. So the Air Force officer had saved Ghatia in his room, and Baba asked for a savory snack, obviously to you know have that to please Bapai. This is just amazing to read about such incidents. It's just Baba's way of working.
Absolutely. And there are many ways in which Baba brings people to his Dhawan. I mean, different ways.
Right.
Uh, it's really interesting.
And this awakens me to the point that all through Baba's travel, he has met monks and so many devotees. So he recognizes all those who are on the path and then those who are held up because of some problem or the other to uplift them and allow them to progress further. That is the whole purpose of his going around the whole globe to meet so many people and awaken a uh, God in them.
Only God could have done what he has done, right? More you think about it, you can only think like that. It's a confirmation of his divinity. Anyway, on that note, we will wrap up today's call. Hope you all have a great Saturday. And sorry about Sunday last. This Sunday, we will have a discussion in the morning. I look forward to um, getting on the call with you all. Aar Meher Baba ki jai.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.